Eldergrove was a very pretty village. It sat snugly at the edge of a great green wood. Tiny houses with thatched roofs lined its winding paths. Bright flowers bloomed in window boxes and gardens. The people of Eldergrove were friendly. They always had a smile or a kind word. Life moved slowly like a gentle stream. It was a peaceful place to grow up, full of sunshine and laughter. Everyone knew everyone else and helped each other. Beside Eldergrove lay the Whispering Woods. Its trees were tall and ancient. Their leaves rustled, even on still days. Villagers said the woods whispered secrets. For generations, stories were told about its magic. Some tales were exciting, filled with wonder. Others were a little frightening. Most people respected the woods, but they did not often venture deep inside its shadows. They preferred the bright, open fields of the village. The legend spoke of many things. They said a hidden magic slept within the woods. Some believed a wise old guardian protected it. The whispers themselves were a mystery. Were they the wind or something more? Old folks said the woods remembered everything. They said it held forgotten lore because of these stories and the deep shadows. Many children were warned. Stay clear of the Whispering Woods, their parents would say. So the woods remained a place of mystery. It was beautiful to look at from afar. Its green canopy stretched for miles. But a faint air of sadness clung to it. It was as if the trees were waiting for someone brave enough, waiting for someone kind enough, waiting for someone to understand its secrets. The village lived beside it, yet the true connection felt lost, like a forgotten song. Elara was a girl of 12 summers. She lived in Eldergrove, of course. Her eyes were as bright as curious stars. She had a spirit full of adventure. Elara loved to ask questions. Why was the sky blue? Where did the river go? And most of all, what lay within the Whispering Woods? She was not like the other children. They played games in the village square. Elara often wandered near the forest's edge. The Whispering Woods fascinated Elara. It did not scare her as much as it intrigued her. She would sit for hours, just listening. She tried to understand what the leaves were saying. The other children would call her. "Elara, come play," they'd shout. But Elara felt a stronger pull, a pull towards the deep green shadows, a pull towards the ancient trees. She felt the woods was alive and perhaps a little lonely. Her adventurous heart longed for discovery. She had explored every corner of Eldergrove. She knew the best tree for climbing. She knew where the rarest wildflowers grew. She had even found an old forgotten well behind the bakery. But these small adventures were not enough. Her gaze always returned to the woods. It promised something bigger, something more magical, something she felt she was meant to find. The village elders often told stories. They warned of dangers in the woods. They spoke of getting lost. They spoke of tricksy sprites. Elara listened politely to their tales. She respected their wisdom. But the warnings only made her curiosity grow. It was a tiny flame inside her, and with every rustle of the leaves that flame burned a little brighter. She felt the woods was not just whispering, but calling out to her. One hot summer, something changed in Eldergrove. The village well, their main source of water, began to run low. Day by day, the water level dropped. The cheerful stream that fed it slowed to a trickle. Worry lines appeared on the faces of the villagers. Crops in the fields started to droop. The laughter in Eldergrove grew a little quieter. Elara saw the worry. She felt it too, and she thought of the woods. Elara found herself thinking more and more. Could the woods help? The legend spoke of its magic. Perhaps the whispers knew a solution. Fear tried to creep into her heart. The woods were vast and unknown, but the thought of her village suffering was stronger. She remembered the happy faces now clouded with concern. She knew she had to do something, even if it was a little scary. So one early morning, Elara made a decision. She packed a small cloth bag. Inside, she put a crust of bread. She added a small flask, hoping to fill it with fresh water. And for luck, she tucked in her favorite smooth grey pebble. She looked at her reflection. Her eyes were serious but determined. This was more than just an adventure now. It was a quest to help her home. She crept out of her small cottage. The village was still asleep. The air was cool and quiet. She gave a silent goodbye to the familiar houses. She glanced at the dwindling well with a new resolve. Then she turned her face towards the Whispering Woods. The dark tree line looked like a giant sleeping creature. Taking a deep breath, Elara stepped forward. She crossed the boundary from sunlight into shadow. There was no turning back now. The moment Elara stepped under the trees, everything changed. The warm sunlight of Eldergrove vanished. Instead, a soft, green-tinged light filtered down. It dappled the forest floor in shifting patterns. The familiar sounds of the village faded away. No more crowing roosters or distant chatter. Now she heard new sounds. The rustle of unseen creatures, the creak of ancient branches, a low, constant hum. The trees in the whispering woods were enormous. They were older than any building in Eldergrove. Their bark was gnarled and twisted like the faces of wise old men. Branches reached out like long arms, covered in moss. There was no clear path to follow. Weeds and ferns grew thickly everywhere. Elara felt very small, like a tiny beetle in a giant's garden, but she kept her chin up and walked on. The air in the woods was different too. It was cool and damp. It smelled of rich earth, decaying leaves, and strange sweet flowers she had never seen before. There was a tingle in the air, a faint buzz, like hidden energy. Elara thought it might be the magic the legends spoke of. It made her skin prickle, but not in a bad way. It felt exciting and a little bit wild. And then there were the whispers. Here, deep inside, they were much clearer. They were not quite words, not yet, but they were like feelings carried on the breeze. Sometimes they sounded like a sad sigh. Sometimes they felt like a gentle welcome. Elara focused on the welcoming feeling. She told herself the woods was glad to see her. She pushed aside any fear and continued her journey into the unknown. Section 5, Whispers and Wonders. As Elara walked deeper, the woods began to show its magic. The path ahead grew dim. Just as she worried about getting lost, a soft glow appeared. Patches of moss on the tree trunks began to shine. They pulsed with a gentle, silvery light. It was enough to see by. She reached out and touched one. It felt soft and warm. The woods was helping her. It was lighting her way. Suddenly, a small furry creature darted onto a branch above her. It was a squirrel, but not an ordinary one. Its fur was the color of acorns, and its eyes sparkled with intelligence. "Well now, little one," it chattered. Elara gasped. The squirrel could talk. "You're a brave thing to come so far," it said. It offered her a strange, shiny nut. For energy, it chirped, then scampered away quickly. Elara smiled, feeling less alone. She soon came to a little stream. The water did not look ordinary. It shimmered with all the colors of a rainbow. Hesitantly, Elara cupped her hands and took a sip. The water tasted sweet and cool. As she drank, a warm feeling spread through her. She felt her tiredness wash away. Her heart felt a little lighter. Her courage grew a little stronger. This was truly an enchanted place. The wonders did not stop there. She passed flowers that hummed soft, lullaby-like tunes. Their petals glowed faintly in the dim light. Some trees had leaves that seemed to change color. They shimmered from green to blue to gold, reflecting her own feelings. The Whispering Woods was not just trees and shadows, it was alive with a gentle, ancient magic. Elara felt a growing connection to this extraordinary place. Elara journeyed on, following the guiding whispers. The woods led her to a large, sun-dappled clearing. In the very center stood a magnificent tree. It was older and larger than any she had ever seen. Its branches spread wide, like welcoming arms. As she drew closer, she saw a face in its deeply grooved bark. Two kind eyes made of glowing amber looked down at her. This was the guardian of the woods. A voice rumbled, deep and resonant. It sounded like the rustling of 1,000 leaves. It was like the creaking of ancient branches in a storm. "Welcome, child of Eldergrove," the guardian tree said. Its voice was not scary, but full of wisdom. "You have shown great courage to come this far. Few dare to listen to the woods anymore." The guardian seemed a little sad as it spoke these last words. It explained the woods was slowly fading. Its magic was growing weak. The guardian looked at Elara kindly. "The woods needs help, little one. And perhaps you are the one to give it." It paused, its amber eyes studying her. "But first you must answer a riddle. Not a riddle of clever words, but a riddle of the heart." The guardian's voice grew softer. "Tell me, child, what does this forest and your village truly need to flourish once more?" Elara sat down on the soft moss at the foot of the great tree. She thought very hard. What did the forest need? Not gold or jewels. The woods had its own treasures, not power or strength. The guardian tree was already immensely powerful. She thought of the drying well in Eldergrove. She thought of the sad whispers of the fading woods. She thought of the lost connection between people and nature. The guardian tree listened to Elara's thoughtful silence. Then a slow smile seemed to spread across its bark face. "You have a good heart, child," it rumbled. "You think of others." With a gentle creak, one of its lower branches moved. It pointed towards a narrow, hidden opening between two large rocks. "Follow this path. It will lead you to the heart of the woods. There you may find your answer." A new path, unseen before, shimmered into existence. Elara thanked the guardian and stepped onto the hidden path. This part of the journey felt different. The air grew heavier. The shadows deepened. Strange, flickering lights danced at the edge of her vision. Doubts began to whisper in her own mind. Was she brave enough? Was she strong enough? But then she remembered her village. She pictured the worried faces of her friends and family. She remembered her promise to help. Her courage returned. As she walked, images flickered before her eyes. She saw the whispering woods as it once was. It was vibrant, teeming with magical creatures. Its rivers flowed with sparkling energy. Its trees sang with joy. Then the visions shifted. She saw the connection with the village slowly break. People forgot to listen. They forgot to care. The woods grew lonely. Its magic began to dim. The cause was not evil, but simple neglect. Finally, the narrow path opened into a breathtaking cavern. It was not dark, but filled with a soft, pulsing light. Crystals lined the walls, glowing with every color imaginable. In the center of the cavern was a pool of water. It was perfectly still and shone with an intense, pure light. This was the heart of the woods. It pulsed gently like a sleeping heartbeat, but the beats were slow, a little weak. This was the source of all the forest's magic. As Elara approached the luminous pool, a soft voice echoed in the cavern. It was the voice of the heart of the woods itself. "Brave little one," it whispered, its tone gentle and ancient. "You have found me. For your courage and your kind spirit, I will grant you one wish. Wish for anything your heart desires. Riches, endless adventure, personal glory, it can all be yours." The air thrummed with powerful magic. Elara stood before the shimmering heart. A single wish. The thought was dazzling. She could wish for her own secret treehouse, filled with every book imaginable. She could wish to fly like a bird, exploring the world. These thoughts were tempting. Her heart beat faster. For a moment, she forgot everything else. The power to have anything she wanted was a strong lure for any 12-year-old girl. But then another image came to her mind. She saw the worried faces of the Eldergrove villagers. She saw them rationing water from the nearly dry well. She saw the drooping plants in their gardens. She remembered the sad whispers of the fading woods. She thought of the talking squirrel, the glowing moss, and the wise guardian tree. Her own desires seemed small compared to their needs. Her moment of internal struggle passed. Her heart felt clear and strong. She knew what her wish must be. Taking a deep breath, Elara spoke her wish. Her voice was clear and true in the silent cavern. "I wish," she said, looking at the glowing pool, "for the whispering woods and the village of Eldergrove to thrive together. I wish for the waters to flow fresh and clear again, for both forest and village. And I wish for the connection between people and nature to be restored, strong and true." It was a wish not for herself, but for everyone, a truly selfless wish. The moment Elara spoke her wish, the heart of the woods pulsed with a brilliant light. It was so bright she had to shield her eyes. A wave of warm, loving energy surged outwards from the pool. It rushed through the cavern, through the trees, through the very earth itself. The forest around her seemed to take a deep, joyful breath. The weak pulse of the heart grew stronger, steadier. The magic was returning, vibrant and renewed. Her journey back through the whispering woods was very different. The path seemed to guide her feet. The colors of the leaves were richer, more vibrant. The songs of the hidden flowers were sweeter and louder. Animals peeked out from behind trees, their eyes bright and curious, no longer fearful. Sunlight streamed down in golden shafts, making the woods feel welcoming and alive. The whispers were now joyful murmurs of gratitude and friendship. When Elara emerged from the tree line, blinking in the bright sunlight, she saw a wondrous sight. The villagers were gathered around the well, but they were not worried anymore. They were cheering. The old stone well was overflowing with cool, clear water. It gushed out, forming a new, sparkling stream that ran towards the fields. The crops in the gardens already looked greener, standing taller. A new energy buzzed through Eldergrove. Elara was greeted with happy shouts and hugs. They called her a hero, but Elara, wise beyond her years, shook her head. She explained that it was the magic of the woods, awakened by a simple wish for togetherness. She told them of the guardian and the need for connection. From that day on, the people of Eldergrove cared for the whispering woods. They listened to its whispers. They protected its creatures. And Eldergrove and the woods prospered, side by side, forever reminded by Elara that true adventure and true magic always comes from the heart.